Hello my fellow whale watchers, today we will look at this Expert League 1 hangar of one of my subscribers. His favorite game modes are Pick and Rush and Free for All. A bit of additional information: he is currently crafting a Typhon and already has a Fafnir, a Hawk and an Erebus in his storage. So according to one of my polls, most of my viewers are in Expert League, so this could be very interesting for many of you. Also because I think that this is a great hangar. As usual, let's start with the robots. My subscriber runs both Harpy and Siren. They are great FFA bots, very sneaky kill stealers. A special edition Fenrir, which is a very reasonable tank. A cruel Orochi with Banes, which is the brawler assassin version of the Orochi. And finally a Mender with the Marie Leclerc pilot. In short, that's a great hangar. Really good selection of bots. There's a fast peeking capper with considerable firepower, a tank, a healer and 2 support damage dealers, very well balanced. So if you like these bots, nothing will prevent you to march all the way through Champion League if you bring these to a reasonable level. So let's talk a bit about weapons and modules. The Harpy with Scorcher Incinerators is a classic build that is especially powerful against groups of opponents, nothing wrong here. I would try to get 1 or 2 good modules for it as well. For example, a nuclear amplifier or an additional layer for increasing your survivability in FFA, such as a cloaking unit or last stand. The modules of the Fenrir are great, heavy armor kits and the repair amplifier, perfect. Also the Puncher still works great in Expert League, turrets are reasonable and you have the right pilot, nothing wrong here. I think that this is your strongest robot in your hangar. The Siren with Incinerator Scald, yes, that also works quite well together with the freezing ability. As for the Harpy, you have the young Lee pilot, nothing wrong here, except try to get some reasonable passive modules maybe as well. Same for the cruel Orochi, Bane works great, nuclear amplifier together with overdrive is great. I would consider to move your heavy armor kit maybe to the Fenrir, and then your repair amplifier potentially to the Mender if you level up your Mender a bit more. The Mender with the Marie Leclerc pilot is one of the most powerful support healers in the game. Pulsar Magnetar is reasonable for using as a support build. However, keep in mind, if you like your Mender and you keep leveling it up, sooner or later it will end up in many brawling situations. Because in these situations you can support your team best. Also for FFA, it could therefore be a good idea to get your hands on some weapons with higher DPS, but for now just leave it as it is. The Baihu Luchador is great and one of the best setups that you can run. What will really make it shine would be a Titan anti-control module and maybe a Cannibal reactor, but other than that I would just keep developing it, starting with your weapons. You have a Fafnir, a Hawk and an Erebus in your storage, and you're crafting a Typhon, so my guess is that you would like to replace a robot in your lineup with a Typhon, but to be honest I'm not sure if this is really necessary. Your hangar is well defined and balanced. The only thing that I can think of is that it could replace your Harpy and that you want to use the Typhon with Scorchers in order to increase flexibility a bit. But that brings me to the one thing that you should watch out for. It is very common for players to get stuck in Expert League, and the reason is that they tend to change their hangar too often. If you don't mind staying in Expert League, that's fine, but if you want to advance in a game, it does not make your hangar stronger to change it to the latest stuff all the time. And I know that this sounds counterintuitive first, right? If you, for example, have a Fenrir and you win a Revenant, the Revenant is much stronger, right? Well, yes and no. This may be true for optimized builds at the highest levels, but these are the ones that you see in 90% of all War Robots YouTube videos. But in order to get there, it will take you months. So if you want to progress into Master League and into Champion League later, it's not so much about running the latest stuff, but it's about the equipment level. So looking at your hangar, what I would actually do first is to work on the level of some of your strongest weapons. For Master League, you should bring your weapons to level 8 or 9 at least, and be consistent with what you work on. Then, once you have a solid base of 3 or 4 strong and leveled robot systems, you work on new stuff. So at this point, where you are right now, definitely keep your Fenrir in your hangar and don't replace it. Rather the opposite, I would actually max that thing out. But only after leveling at least a couple of your current weapon sets to MK1 level 9 at least. So that concludes yet another hangar review. In case you want to have your hangar reviewed, you can find instructions on how to apply for a review in this video's description. Thanks again for listening in and see you on my channel.